Boy band.
Boy band.
Boycott.
Boycott.
We boycott all products tested on animals.
They are now trying to organize a boycott.
A boycott on GM crops.
Call for a boycott of the elections.
Boyfriend.
Boyfriend.
Boyhood.
Boyhood.
Boyhood memories.
Boyish.
Boyish.
Boyish good looks. At 45, she still had a trim, boyish figure.
Boy racer.
Boy racer.
Boy scout.
Boy scout.
Boy's own.
Boy's own. His life story is like a non-stop boy's own adventure.
Boy toy.
Boy toy.
Boy wonder.
Boy wonder.
Robson, the boy wonder of the department.
Bozo.
Bozo.
Who's the bozo in the pyjamas?
BPO.
BPO.
BPS.
BPS.
A 28,800 BPS modem.
Bra.
Bra.
Brace.
Brace.
Nancy braced herself for the inevitable arguments.
The military needs to brace itself for further spending cuts, says McCoy. The military needs to brace itself for further spending cuts, says McCoy.
Kathy braced herself to see Matthew, who she expected to arrive at any minute. The base was braced for an attack. Kathy braced herself to see Matthew, who she expected to arrive at any minute. The base was braced for an attack.
Gina braced her back against the wall and pushed as hard as she could.
Pilot told passengers and crew to brace themselves for a rough landing.
Gina braced her back against the wall and pushed as hard as she could.
Pilot told passengers and crew to brace themselves for a rough landing.
Wait until we've braced the ladder.
Workers use steel beams to brace the roof. The miners use special braces to keep the walls from collapsing.
He was being fitted for a back brace.
She had to wear a brace after the accident.
A brace of partridge.
Bracelet.
Bracelet.
A gold bracelet.
Bracing.
Bracing.
A bracing sea breeze. Bracken.
Bracken.
Bracket.
Bracket.
Last year's sales figures are given in brackets.
The highest tax bracket. Families in lower income brackets.
Women and minors were bracketed together for the legislation.
Arizona has been bracketed with Iowa in the tournament.
Debit amounts are bracketed.
Brackish.
Brackish.
Brad.
Brad. Bradall.
Bradall.
Brag.
Brag.
I came out top in the test, he bragged.
Ben's always bragging about his success with women.
Julia used to brag that her family had a villa in Spain.
Braggadocio.
Braggadocio.
Braggart.
Braggart.
Brahman.
Brahman.
Braid.
Braid.
A jacket trimmed with red braid.
Susie always wears her hair in braids.
Braille.
Braille.
Brain.
Brain.
Messages from the brain are carried by the central nervous system.
The chemistry of the brain.
The human brain.
Emotional responses are a function of the right hemisphere of the brain.
She died of a brain tumour.
If you had any brains, you'd know what I meant. The job requires brains.
Something's addled your brains.
Come on, use your brain, John.
Some of our best brains are leaving the country to work in the U.S.
I've got that song on the brain today.
Danny's definitely the brains of the project.
I wanted to brain him.
Brain box.
Brain box.
Brainchild.
Brainchild.
The festival was the brainchild of Reeves.
Brain damage.
Brain damage.
Potts suffered severe brain damage in the crash.
Brain drain.
Brain drain.
Brain dump. Brain dump. Brain fart. Brain fart. Brain fingerprinting. Brain fingerprinting.
Brain freeze.
Brain freeze.
Brainiac.
Brainiac.
Brainless.
Brainless.
What a brainless thing to do.
Brain melt.
Brain melt.
Brain power.
Brain power.
A lot of brain power went into solving the problem. The country's shortage of scientific brain power.
Brain scan.
Brain scan.
Brainstorm.
Brainstorm.
Kirby had a sudden brainstorm.
I must have had a brainstorm that afternoon. Employees get together and brainstorm ideas, some of which get developed and some don't.
Brainstorming.
Brainstorming.
A brainstorming session to come up with slogans for new products.
Brain teaser.
Brain teaser.
Brainwash.
Brainwash.
Young people are being brainwashed by this religious group.
Commercials brainwash consumers into buying things they don't need. Brainwave.
Brainwave.
I've had a brainwave. Let's go this weekend instead.
Brainy.
Brainy.
He always was the brainy one.
Braze.
Braze.
Break.
Break.
Test your brakes after driving through water. I managed to put the brakes on just in time.
Moira slammed on the brakes.
He applied the brakes but failed to stop in time.
The screech of brakes.
Rises in interest rates act as a brake on expenditure.
He braked sharply to avoid the dog.
Brake fluid.
Brake fluid.
Brake light.
Brake light.
Brake shoe.
Brake shoe.
Bramble.
Bramble.
Bran.
Bran.
Branch.
Branch.
After the storm, the ground was littered with twigs and branches.
The topmost branches were full of birds.
The bank has branches all over the country.
A branch office in Boston.
She now works in our Denver branch.
Where's their nearest branch?
They're planning to open a branch in St. Louis next year.
Have you met our branch manager, Mr. Carlson?
All branches of government are having to cut costs.
The wealthy South American branch of the family.
The rail company may have to close the branch line to Uckfield.
When you reach the village green, the street branches into two.
A passage branching off from the main tunnel.
We branched off from the main road and turned down a country lane.
Then the conversation branched off into a discussion about movies.
Don't be afraid to branch out and try something new.
Profits were falling until the bookstore branched out into selling CDs.
Brand.
Brand.
What brand of detergent do you use?
Products which lack a strong brand image.
A strange, macabre brand of humour.
You can't brand all football supporters as hooligans.
Stealing that money has branded Jim for life. No one will trust him again.
Each cow was branded with the ranch's logo.
Branded.
Branded.
Branding.
Branding.
Branding iron.
Branding iron.
Brandish.
Brandish.
A man leapt out brandishing a kitchen knife.
Brand name.
Brand name.
Brandy.
Brandy.
Brand new.
Brand new.
A brand new car. His clothes looked brand new.
Brandy butter.
Brandy butter.
Brash.
Brash.
Brash journalists.
The painting was bold, brash, and modern.
Brass.
Brass.
An old brass bedstead.
Brass instruments.
Brass band.
Brass band.
Brassed off.
Brassed off.
Brasserie.
Brasserie.
Brassiere.
Brassiere.
Brass knuckles.
Brass knuckles.
Brassy.
Brassy.
A drunken, brassy nightclub singer. Brat.
Brat.
A spoilt brat.
Bratwurst.
Bratwurst.
Bravado.
Bravado.
Youthful bravado.
Brave.
Brave.
Brave soldiers.
A brave fight against cancer.
It was brave of you to speak in front of all those people.
Today, we remember the brave who died in the last war.
Despite their captain's brave performance, Arsenal lost 2-1.
The brave efforts of the medical staff to save his life.
The brave new world of digital television.
She smiled bravely.
I decided to take the train to work rather than brave the traffic.
More than 100 people braved the elements and attended the rally.
Brave New World.
Brave new world.
Bravery.
Bravery.
An act of great bravery.
Bravo.
Bravo.
Bravo! Encore!
Bravura.
Bravura.
A bravura performance.
Brawl.
Brawl.
A drunken brawl in the street.
Fans brawled outside the stadium.
Brawn.
Brawn.
Mina has the brains. I have the brawn.
Brawny.
Brawny.
His brawny arms glistened with sweat.
Bray.
Bray.
Brazen.
Brazen.
Her brazen admission that she was cheating on him.
She knew she could either admit the truth or brazen it out.
Brazenly.
Brazenly.
She smiled at him brazenly.
Brazier.
Brazier.
Brazzle.
Brazil.
Brazilian.
Brazilian.
Breach.
Breach.
This was a clear breach of the 1994 trade agreement.
They sued the company for breach of contract.
A breach of professional duty.
He was clearly in breach of the law.
Britain did not want to risk a breach with the U.S. over sanctions.
What had caused the sudden breach between Henry and his son?
She wanted to help heal the breach between them.
We regard the publication of this information as a serious breach of trust.
There had been a major breach of security at the airbase.
He was arrested and charged with breach of the peace.
A breach in the castle wall. Thanks for stepping into the breach last week.
The company accused him of breaching his contract.
The storm had breached the sea wall in 2 places.
Bread.
Bread.
Would you like some bread with your soup?
A loaf of brown bread.
A piece of bread and butter.
Writing is my bread and butter.
Bread and butter.
Bread and butter political issues such as jobs and housing.
Bread basket.
Bread basket.
Zambia could be the breadbasket of Africa.
Bread bin.
Bread bin.
Breadboard.
Breadboard.
Bread box.
Bread box.
Breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs.
Coat the fish in breadcrumbs and fry.
Breaded.
Breaded.
Breaded place.
Breadfruit.
Breadfruit.
Breadline.
Breadline.
A family living on the breadline.
Breadth.
Breadth.
The breadth of the river.
The boat measured 15 feet in length and 4 feet in breadth.
The job wasn't giving him the breadth of experience he wanted.
His breadth of knowledge was amazing.
A politician known for his breadth of vision.
We need to provide more breadth in the college curriculum.
Breadwinner.
Breadwinner.
Break. Break. I had to break a window to get into the house.
Don't lean on the fence like that. You'll break it.
He broke the biscuit in half and handed one piece to me.
Break the chocolate into small pieces and melt it over a gentle heat. He kept pulling at the rope until it broke.
The frames are made of plastic, and they tend to break quite easily.
She fell downstairs and broke her hip.
Don't mess about with my camera, you'll break it.
Someone's broken the TV. The washing machine's broken again.
They're breaking the law by employing such young children.
If you break the rules, you will be punished. The cameras catch motorists who break the speed limit.
I never break my promises.
You betrayed me. You broke your word.
He was worried that he might be breaking his contract.
Shall we break for lunch now?
We need to break the cycle of poverty and crime in the inner cities.
We took turns driving in order to try and break the monotony. New talks will begin on Monday in an effort to break the deadlock.
Losing his business nearly broke him.
I won't give in. I won't be broken by him.
The government succeeded in breaking the unions.
Dawn was breaking by the time we arrived home.
We were keen to get back to the hotel before the storm broke.
The following day, the weather broke, and we had 10 days of solid rain.
We sat and watched the waves breaking on the shore.
He was 15 and his voice was just beginning to break.
Her voice broke as she told us what had happened.
News of his resignation broke yesterday.
The minister has refused to give any interviews since the scandal broke.
I didn't know how I was going to break the news to my mother. The doctor finally broke it to me that there was no cure. A new drug which helps smokers to break their habit.
An attempt to break the 10,000 metres world record.
We decided to break our journey in Oxford.
He broke my heart when he left me. It'll break your father's heart if you tell him you're giving up college.
The government has threatened to bring in the army to break the 10-month-old strike.
The U.S. has now broken all diplomatic links with the regime.
Sometimes it is necessary to break family ties in order to protect the child.
Their teeth are sharp enough to break the skin.
I think we've broken the back of the job now.
A new hard drive doesn't have to break the bank.
The slightest sound would break his concentration. The slightest sound would break his concentration. The silence was broken by a loud scream.
They could not break her spirit.
The spirit of our soldiers will never be broken.
At last the power of the church had been broken.
Sam's arrival broke the ice and people began to talk and laugh.
Scientists work day and night to break the code. Hewitt broke serve twice in the second set. Hewitt broke serve twice in the second set.
More than 30 Labour MPs broke away to form a new left-wing party.
They broke away from the National Union and set up their own local organisation.
I felt the need to break away from home.
She started crying and tried to break away. She broke away from him and ran to the door.
Radcliffe broke away 200 metres before the finish.
Part of the plane's wing had broken away.
The car broke down just north of Paris.
The printing machines are always breaking down.
Negotiations broke down after only 2 days.
I left London when my marriage broke down.
Police had to break down the door to get into the flat.
Getting young people together will help to break down the barriers between them.
It takes a long time to break down prejudices.
Food is broken down in the stomach.
Bacteria are added to help break down the sewage.
He broke down and cried.
She broke down in tears when she heard the news.
He showed us the whole dance, then broke it down so that we could learn it more easily.
The question can be broken down into two parts. He broke for the door, but the guards got there before he did. Thieves broke in and stole £10,000 worth of computer equipment.
I didn't want to break in on his telephone conversation.
Dad would occasionally break in with an amusing comment. I went for a walk to break in my new boots.
She's quite new to the job, so we're still breaking her in.
We break the horses in when they're about 2 years old.
Someone broke into my car and stole the radio.
Her house was broken into last week.
She made an attempt to break into journalism.
It's a profession that is very hard to break into.
Many British firms have failed in their attempts to break into the American market.
I don't want to break into my savings unless I have to.
He broke into a run as he came round the corner.
Her face broke into a smile.
The audience broke into loud applause.
Try to break yourself of the habit of eating between meals.
She started to speak, then broke off while a waitress served us coffee.
He broke off in mid-sentence to shake hands with the new arrivals. He broke off in mid-sentence to shake hands with the new arrivals.
I broke off the conversation and answered the phone. She broke off their engagement only a few weeks before they were due to be married.
The US has broken off diplomatic relations with the regime.
One of the car's wing mirrors had broken off.
He broke off a piece of bread.
I was still living in London when the war broke out.
Does everyone know what to do if a fire breaks out? Fighting broke out between demonstrators and the police.
3 men have broken out of a top-security jail.
She felt the need to break out of her daily routine.
I broke out in a painful rash.
My whole body broke out in a sweat.
Several demonstrators broke through the barriers despite warnings from the police.
After hours of fierce fighting, rebels broke through and captured the capital.
The sun broke through at around lunchtime.
The sun soon broke through the mist.
He's a very talented young actor who's just ready to break through.
It is possible that at this election some of the minority parties might succeed in breaking through into Parliament.
It seems that the plane just broke up in the air.
Use a fork to break up the soil. There are plans to break the company up into several smaller independent companies.
You need a few trees and bushes to break up the lawn.
3 policemen were needed to break up the fight.
Government soldiers broke up the demonstration.
Police moved in to break up the meeting.
He lost his job and his marriage broke up.
The couple broke up last year.
Many bands break up because of personality clashes between the musicians.
Has Sam really broken up with Lucy?
The party didn't break up until after midnight. The meeting broke up without any agreement.
School breaks up next week.
When do you break up for Easter?
He breaks me up. She had broken with her family years ago.
They broke with the Communist Party and set up a new party.
Now is the time to break with the past.
His work broke with tradition in many ways.
We'll have a short break for lunch, then start again at 2 o'clock.
Let's take a 10-minute break.
We'd worked for 10 hours without a break.
I'll go shopping during my lunch break.
I wanted a break from university life.
She decided to take a career break when she had children.
A welcome break in my normal routine. I was beginning to feel that I needed a break.
We flew off for a week's break in Spain.
They're offering weekend breaks in Paris for only £100.
Are you looking forward to the summer break?
I'll speak to you at break.
They get together with their friends at break time.
Join us again after the break.
We'll be back with more after a short break.
We'll go for a walk if there's a break in the rain.
Latecomers will be admitted at a suitable break in the performance.
She waited for a break in the conversation.
There was no sign of a break in the weather. I wanted a clean break so that I could restart my life.
It was years before I plucked up enough courage to make the break and leave him.
He was beginning to regret his break with the Labour Party.
We crawled through a break in the hedge.
The sun shone through a break in the clouds.
There are hundreds of young musicians out there looking for their first break.
He got his first big break in 1998.
A lucky break.
It's quite a bad break, which will take several months to heal.
She really needs a break of serve now if she wants to win this match. She really needs a break of serve now if she wants to win this match.
It is time for a complete break with the past.
As soon as the guard's back was turned, they made a break for the door.
2 of the prisoners made a break for it, but were soon recaptured.
Give the kid a break. It's only his second day on the job.